Okay, so in this video we'll be taking a look at this MAJESTIC model kit, the Master Grade Gundam Barbatos. To start, it greets you with a really nice box art of the Barbatos whacking a graze with its absolutely awesome mace. To me, that weapon is so unique for a Gundam, and I love that they thought about making it one of the main weapons. The Gundam Barbatos comes from the series Iron-Blooded Orphans. So this kit came out late 2019 and it's the first ever Master Grade from IBO. If we take a look at the sides of the box, we have the usual Bandai showcase of what the kit's all about. And since this is a really recent kit, the text actually has English. We can see that it has a really good inner frame here with tons of gimmicks. We have figures of Mikazuki, a bunch of more info. On the other side, we have more gimmicks and they show us the weapons. This time, unlike the high grade, they include the smooth bore gun. You had to get an option set for the high grade version of that weapon. And yeah, looking pretty good that you can store everything on the mobile suit itself. No action base included in this kit. I really think all kits should have at least one, just like Figma's. And no list price here like all the newer kits, but they should go for around 2,700 pesos and up. That's around 55 USD. Taking a look inside, you can immediately notice the silver plated piston parts. You can see the basic Gundam colors, white, red, blue, yellow. But let's take a look at the manual first. Again, text has English now. We have runner A1 up until runner J2. The instructions help you out by showing you what specific runners you'll need for the section you're building. Centerfold has more info. We have the painting guides here, some info about the Gundam frame, and a bunch of other stuff. We have the marking guide, and the back is a completed build of the kit. The kit comes with some stickers. I've warmed up the stickers, but for the surfaces of the Barbatos here are for the most part not flat and blocky, so I don't think these guys would work too great. Some foil stickers for the sensors. Runner A1 with some inner frame parts, A2 with more inner frame in the same brownish color, B with some leg frame parts, and we have two of those. C2 again in brown, and two of those as well. Weird though that we don't actually have a runner C1. Silver plated D1 looking really good. D2 in molded gold, which looks bad to some, but I like them. Multicolored runner E here with some clear green. F1 for some white armor parts. F2 is a copy of that section there. Two runner Gs in a very dark gray. A very nice clear pink runner H. I1 in some Gundam blue. I2 in a lighter brown for gun parts. Dark brown J1 for more weapon parts, and J2 for more parts of the mace. Aside from the stickers, this kit looks really interesting to build. So let's skip on over to the build kit, shall we? So here's the Barbatos all built up. I want to thank everyone that was there in the stream. You guys made it really fun for my very first live stream, so thanks. So here it is. This is what it looks like. The build process was not really complicated, but there were just a lot of small parts. I prepared all the parts. I cleaned up all the nubs before I put it together. The manual actually shows you that you can build the frame on its own, so you can actually display this with just the inner frame. The armor too, all this armor has really good surface detail, armor separation. There actually aren't any seam lines on this kit, which makes it kind of easy to put together, except for the small parts, because you kind of have to hold in place some parts before you can complete that art that you're building. So that kind of makes it hard. But overall, it's just the part count and the part sizes that make it a little bit difficult, I guess. The plastic actually feels really good. The inner frame plastic, that really dark brown, feels soft to the touch, but they don't feel like they're flimsy enough to break on you. And then we have kind of a glossy finish on the armor parts. which makes it more dynamic, that you can see the difference between the armor and the inner frame, which is actually really good. The build quality is really good too. It's actually kind of heavy for a model kit this size. I think that's because of the full inner frame inside here, which is really nice. Yeah, it's very different from the regular Gundam designs that you could see, like the RX-78-2. It's quite the departure from that source material, but it does resemble it a little, especially on the face because of that mask and the V-fin. But for the most part, it actually just looks like some other design. And we have those clear pink pieces poking through, which are really good. We have those on the shoulders, the chest, and on the knees. And all the yellow parts are separate pieces, unlike the high grade, which actually has missing yellow pieces on the shoulders. This kit has quite a lot of weapons. We have this smooth bore gun. Here's the sight, and this actually locks into place here for the stored mode. You just have to move it around and in like that. And it's a really long gun, as you can see here. And it's actually taller than the mobile suit itself. And yeah, all those parts here, all those different colors you can see here are all separate pieces. There aren't any stickers here except for the one for the sight or the sensor. You actually put a green foil seal there. I just didn't put mine yet because I actually saved those for after painting because I think the shininess is pretty good on its own. You got some shifting handle here and side to side. This part here is for storing on the backpack. So when you have it in the stored mode like this, you just have to take out these gray pieces. You just have to move up these gray pieces here and put them back there, and just slot on the gun there, and there we have it right there. Next we have this sword. Looks really nice. It's actually just two pieces here, just this grayish brown. There's a lot of nice surface detail on this sword, if you can make that out here in the video. Even on the handle, there's a lot of mechanical detail, so it's pretty good. Next up we have the mace. Looks really nice. The handle actually shifts up so you can pull the pile bunker here, and that's what you use to like stab. And if you're done with that, just put it back in. It's pretty sharp, pointy, so be careful with that. And when you push it down like this, the handle stays in place and doesn't shake. And then yeah, it just fits into the hand and you can whack away. It's not actually in the manual, but you have these releasing sword things from the mace. I'm not sure if it's intentional, but they look like their handles here. But yeah, nice for customization. If we don't have it on the mace here, it kind of just looks like a paddle spear thing. Those are all the weapons, but this kit comes with a few more accessories. We have this tiny Mikazuki here. So actually a lot of surface detail on this guy, even for something so small. And then we have some optional fingers. You just swap them out. We have these fist fingers. We have these grabby fingers for the weapons. There's actually no trigger finger hand needed for the gun. It's just these holding fingers. Then the rest of the fingers we have here are these spread open fingers. They're not really that dynamic, but you can make it work. And we have the backpack adapters for the weapons, for storing them, specifically the mace and the sword, because the smooth bore gun can just slot into the backpack on its own. And lastly, we have a base adapter that just slots into its tank for putting it up on an action base. Alright, let's take a closer look now at the mobile suit, starting with the head. The neck has a hinge at the bottom and there's a ball joint on the base of the head. So you can look up that far and you can look down about that far. Tilts are possible, but they're not the best. You can turn the head all the way around if you wanted to. Moving on to the shoulder, we have some moving pistons here. We can see them move there if you tilt the shoulder forward. It doesn't actually move up. There's no movement up, so that's pretty much just forward. Arm can go all the way around. Shoulder armor is independent, and you have to be careful of that hinge. So yeah, shoulder armor is independent like that. Without the shoulder armor in the way, arm can move up about that high, just about parallel to the ground. We have a bicep swivel here. We've got some piston detail here on the elbow and a double jointed elbow at that. So that's a full bend there, we're pretty good. And we've got some mechanical details there that gets exposed when you move the arm, so that's pretty good too. The hands are on pegs this time, not ball joints, so you can spin that all the way around. You can hinge it inwards and outwards like so. And for some stabbing poses, you can actually hinge the hand like this. So really, really good. Thumb is basically on a ball joint just like any other model kit. Or should I say master grade. And the fingers are swappable. Right now we have the expressive open hands. Here's what it looks like with the fist. Not bad. We have grabby hands that just hold on to the weapons like so. This also works for the smoothbore gun. And there you have it. No weight issues even with the mace actually, so that's pretty good. And when you tilt that wrist, you can do some pretty nice slashing movements. So hand articulation is really good. Before we get to the torso articulation, let's do the backpack first. We have this thruster that bends out like this. It's pretty nice that it's super detailed. These two sections here can come out like so. And we have this piston here that holds them in place. You can use this as a sub-arm for some weapons. And you can hold the gun with it too. And if you're done with that, you can have some weapon storage on the backpack. You just have to shift out these panels here and on the inside too, like so. You can just slot in the weapons here. The gun can hold on its own, but for the melee weapons you're gonna have to use this adapter piece, and you just slot in the weapons there for the sword. And you can also use it with the mace. Moving back to the front, for the chest we have the cockpit that opens here. You can see Mikazuki in there. Oh, there goes the chin piece. Anyway, I'll leave that off for now. Or you can actually open the cockpit here and see him through there. You have an ab crunch here and an arching back, and you can see that the pistons move while you do that. You can actually tilt the chest side to side as well, like so, with the piston action there. You can twist at the waist, it's just a peg on the waist. And we actually have a hinging mechanism here for the waist and the torso. You just have to push it down here and you can tilt the body all the way there. And on the other side as well. That's about pretty much how far it goes. Pretty good. Front skirts are on ball joints. Side skirts are on a peg and a hinge, so you can put it up like this, and you can twist it like this. Back skirts are hinged. You can put them up way up like that, and you can see some gold parts there. Pretty good. Before we move on to the legs, you can see down here on the taint that we can slot this base adapter in there for some aerial poses. Easy peasy. Next, the waist joint. It actually moves up and down like this for some more movement, additional movement. We have a swivel here. It doesn't go all the way around, but again, why would you need that? Kick to the front gets about parallel to the ground. Kick to the back, a little higher than the front, but it's also pretty good. Bending the knee has a lot of mechanical detail again. You can see the piston there. It goes out, and this armor panel can move down so that you can do a full bend of the knee. It's pretty nice that you move that armor piece. And yeah, that's how it looks in there. It's nicely detailed in there. It's not just some lost empty plastic space. Then we have the thrusters on the sides of the legs, which can hinge up and down like so. That's for both the legs. The ankle twists like so. It doesn't twist all the way around because of those pistons at the back. So you can get this far side to side. You can also hinge them down like so, that far down, and hinge them up that far up. The heel armor can move for some clearance of the pistons. This ankle armor also hinges, and you have this bend for the toe. It's actually on a double hinge, so it's hinged there on the top of the foot and here down here near the toe. You can also tilt the foot side to side. It's best to hold it here on the ankle because the connection here on the front is pretty thin, so you can move it side to side like this. Pretty good. So the Barbatos doesn't have the best in terms of articulation, but in terms of posability, you can pretty much do whatever you want with it. Dynamic poses on the ground, dynamic poses in the air, weapon poses, smashing poses, shooting poses, all that kind of stuff. You can't want more from this guy, especially since it looks so good. Even if you want to display it without the armor parts on, it still looks pretty nice. Whatever you could imagine a Gundam could do, this guy can do it. For the pros, this kit is kinda hefty. All that inner frame parts and the armor parts feel really good in the hand. It doesn't feel like an empty model kit, like it's hollow. Not just that it's hefty, it also has a lot of stuff for the price that it's in. It has a mace, a sword, a gun, and all of it's pretty solid. The joints are good. So far, for the first week of playing around with it, there hasn't been any loose parts except for the chin part, that red chin piece that falls off. It's not a big deal for me. Just be careful with that so that you don't lose it, because without that part it kind of becomes empty in the face. So yeah, articulation is still good for this guy. It's just that the shoulders don't really go up, but you can rotate the arm pointing up. It's not that bad. As for the cons, it might be too difficult for beginners because of all the small parts, and the number of pieces are kind of a lot, so you might just get frustrated if you're a beginner. It's not really a con, but it could really use an action base included in the kit. I just really feel like all model kits should have action bases in the box, just so you can do more with the kit, like you can do with some figures like Figma. So yeah, if you're thinking about getting this guy, go for it. Even if you're a beginner, actually, even if it's difficult, you're gonna have a good time with it, because the plastic of the inner frame, although there are a lot of parts for the inner frame, it's really soft that you won't have a hard time with using a hobby knife or sanding it down. And yeah, this guy looks really nice. Even if you're not an IBO fan, even if you're not a Gundam fan, I would suggest you get this guy to get started with Gunpla or Gundam in general. So yeah, I'm happy with my purchase, and I would definitely recommend this kit to you guys. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye!